There will at once come a day when ArenaNet does something right.
But it is not this day!
For ANET in their glorious brilliance committed a serious case of skill issue. They took base railwalks off some existing skills and built new abilities on that mechanical blueprint, which saved them a lot of time and effort that should have been invested into making sure the skills work properly. Instead, they bloody ported the bloody bugs over 1-to-1 exactly as they were in original skills. Let's start with the simplest one. Let's say I want to mess up that NPC over there with my line breaker. I press the button and the game shits itself because there's a tiny bloody rock in my path. And this is exactly the same issue Rush has for almost a decade. Any piece of terrain that you can jump over but not walk over basically stops you dead in your tracks. Moving on. How do you think the glacial guano should behave in contact with this ledge? Logic dictates it should descend down and continue forward on the lower shelf, so long it is within predetermined range of the skill. But when I press the button, nope, apparently stopping after a quarter of its desired range only because there's a tiniest ledge known to man in front of us is the correct answer. And that's not even the dumbest behavior this skill inherited from the original. If we walk up to the stairs next to us and we press the button, it only reaches to the end of the stairs and shits the bed immediately. I know this behavior from years of playing Berserker, as that's exactly how Scorched Earth behaves. And by a proxy, so does Glacial Garbage. Both skills are segmented into 4 squares extending forward to form a line. Something dumb happens when transition between one elevation and the other, or between a slope and flat surface, happens to align with the edge between 2 of these squares, and skill just stops going forward. The same elevation doesn't cause skill to stop expanding if elevation change happens in the middle of one of the squares, as you can see in the footage provided. You can imagine how frustrating it is to fight someone and know that you are at the disadvantage because you have the high ground. And finally, the worst offender of them all, Necromancer's sword, with a serious case of spooky dookie. Not only his autos and skill 2 are ground projectiles, they come in 3 different sizes and 3 different behavior patterns. 2 smaller autos skip over these rocks and go their full distance, while the big one bugs out and disappears halfway through. My theory is that because it's big, it doesn't have enough space to course correct itself upwards after getting off that rock in the middle and just collides with ground there, as it would with a wall. Once again, completely reasonable and predictable behavior. The issue with the changing elevations also hits Ravenous Tide in the Dingleberry, as you can see here. I can hit the golem with any of my autos, but skill 2 doesn't even reach him. Arena, you have so much debugging to do, you might as well start partnership with Raid, and no, I don't mean the Shadow Legends. And moving forward, you have no idea, Mental Gen, what has returned in all its hairy glory. It's one and only bulletproof toy like Botox. Because if something is broken, at least it's broken across the board, with no redeeming features. And yes, Necro's sword autos also like to explore rooftops, because fuck that random pigeon and his entire bloodline. And this is how it looks when thrown at the square fence. By the looks of it, GW2 has more spaghetti than average Italian food chain, and these things existed in the game for ages without being addressed. But because there's a beta ongoing, if we rub it into ANET's face, maybe they'll finally go and fix the bloody skills they're trying to improve the groggy player retention with. So, dear viewer, if you want to help make your favorite game a better game, please include mention of these bugs in your 100-page essay about how game bad that you'll call feedback, and I'll do so in mine. Crabface out.